Welcome. This session we're going to be really focusing on our backs. So we've got a nice juicy session where you can really work through and hopefully get some lovely back release. So take it slow, really think about how you're feeling, and I want you to just take your time and with each asana you do, just ask yourself the question, what would I benefit from now? So whether that's going a little bit deeper or whether that's easing off. Okay, so come to sit in the centre of your mat. I'm using a block today to lift my sit bones, just to start to really help taking it easy with that intention that we've got of bringing focus into our spines. So listening to what we need, we know that this is a really good intention for us, and often you'll hear me say it many, many times in each practice. But how often do we do that? How often do we really react to what our bodies are telling us? So I'm going to encourage you to continue with that thought today. Let's find some length through the spine, and as we close down the eyes, mentally do a scan from the crown of your head, slowly working your way down, just taking note of any areas of discomfort, how the back is feeling, how the neck is feeling, any tightness that you may have. Mid part of the spine, keep working down slowly, past the chest, down to your lumbar spine, and all the way down to your tailbone. And if you felt that that was a little quick, by all means you can do that again. Just pausing at any point that you feel you just want to explore how a particular part of your spine is feeling. Maybe you've been doing some gardening lately, or some physical activity has meant that we've got some residual tightness, or we're holding in some of the muscle groups that are holding our back and our spine. So the big strap-like spinal muscles. And then just continue to breathe, continuing to keep those eyes closed, building that big picture of how we're feeling. So not so much how we look, but how we feel. And then we know which areas we may want to target throughout the practice today. So when you're ready, gently just flick those eyes open, and I'd encourage you to have a block with you on today's practice. And I'm going to pop that block on my sacrum. So if you're not sure where your sacrum is, you can just take the back of one hand and find the flattish bit of bone that will be at the back of your pelvis. So it's quite a flat area, and it doesn't matter if you haven't got a block, we can use a book. Should be able to let that stay nice and stable while we're in our all fours position. So it might mean that you feel a little bit more engagement in your core, tucking that belly button into the spine. So let's have a little go at taking and extending the left leg out long, just noticing if that block moves. So this is a good place for us to start. Dialing the left toes down, dialing the left knee down, pushing that heel away, finding that engagement through the front of the left leg. Keep looking down to your mat as you release the right arm, up and ahead, fingers reaching forwards as if you're shaking that person's hand in front of you. So just hold here, push away with your left hand, just so there's that little separation of the shoulder blades. We don't want them pinching together. Find that stillness, and then gently release your left hand and your right hand and your left knee back to the mat, and find your horse stance once more. Just notice how the spine feels. Take a moment to switch on to if there's any sensation, and then we'll start to extend through the right leg. So do we notice that we're swaying slightly from one side to the other, so as that weight shifts onto the left leg? If it does, you can press in to the left calf, shin, just a little bit more. That might help you to square off those hips. And then when you do feel that stability, start to take the left arm, reaching opposite arm to leg. So thumb to ceiling, reaching those fingertips away from the heel. Again, just pressing gently with that right hand so that we can feel that stability. See if we can keep that block nice and stable. Gently bringing that left hand back down to the mat. Bring the right knee down to the mat. And you can take your block away as you sink your hips down. Let's find extended child's pose. So reaching those fingertips forwards. And as you exhale, start to root down in the wrists, the elbows, the armpits, and finally the forehead. Take a big breath in as if you're really expanding through the back body. And exhale, let everything go. Breathe in again, expand through the back body. And exhale, let it go. Slowly come onto your knees now. So we're back in horse stance, but walking the hands forwards so that we're up on our knees. Our legs are hip distance apart. And we've got two options here. We can tuck the toes. If you would feel more stable in having your toes tucked, this is absolutely fine. This is a good place for us to be. If you feel more stable pressing into the fronts of the feet, then that's fine too. So I'm going to go with the first option to start with. That felt good today. But either option are going to give you a nice stretch through the front body and working those back muscles. So just taking your hands to your hips, first of all, find your pelvis, your hip bones, look down towards your knees and see if you can push your hip bones forwards just to the point where you can't see your knees anymore. So you're pressing that pelvis forwards. And once you find that place, swim your hands behind your back. Now we want the fingers to be pointing downwards at this point, just to gently have the base of your hands, that half moon bit of your palm, into that sacrum once more, that flat bit of the spine, gently, very gently, just pressing forward. So this is like a very gentle camel pose. And as you do so, you might feel that it feels quite nice in the spine. So this is your cue to cue into how does your body feel. This might be enough of a back bend simply by letting those shoulders drop down the back body. And if it is, then just stay here. If you'd like a bit more, we're going to turn the palms to face upwards this time. Now the same part of your palm is going to find your sacrum, but the palms facing up is going to help us to think about drawing the chest up and away from your tailbone. So the elbows start to draw together. Keep your neck nice and soft so your eye gaze can just be in front of you. Keep pressing your hips forwards. And just see how that feels to draw those shoulder blades together. Is the breath nice and easy? Is it full? And am I able to stay here for 4 or 5 breaths? Good. So slowly release the hands. Start to let the hips come back down onto the heels. Fingertips over the knees, round the spine, and simple little counter pose here just by taking the chin down to the chest. Now we're going to go back into that Ustrasana variation, but I want you to again switch on to how it's feeling and decide if you would like a little bit more. And you may well want to bring your blocks into this practice. So if you're thinking about using your blocks, you want them nice and tall between your feet, exactly the same position. So again, you can have your toes tucked. This time I'm going to have them flat and see how that feels. Let's go to that checklist. So just checking if we can press our hips forward so that we can't see our knees anymore. Then we can take the eye gaze forwards, deciding whether we want the palms down or if it was a comfortable position for us to rotate those wrists and have the palms facing up. That's not comfortable for everybody, and that's fine. Did it feel okay to start to draw those shoulders down and away and the chest up and away from the tailbone? And now I want you to think about your tailbone. So if you did have a tail, can you you tuck it right the way under between your legs. Keep lifting your chest. And maybe it feels okay to take your hands back to those blocks. So if it does feel okay, then we can grab those blocks and just keep working to press that chest up. So rather than forwards, think about pressing the chest up. You can keep that chin tucked. You don't need to take it all the way back. That might not be a comfortable place for you to be. And if this is too far for you, we can do one hand and then the other hand. So take some options here. And when you are ready to come back, reverse all of those options. You'll want to move those blocks out the way. And this time we're just going to come to horse stance. So our counter pose is a little bit more gentle. We're going to just leave the spine into a neutral position. So we're allowing our body weight just to be taken by the hands and the legs evenly. The spine is just naturally taking its shape as we release ourselves. So not needing to do anything at all here, just let everything settle. Good, and then scoot the knees forwards, sit back on your heels and bring your legs forward. So as you bring your legs forwards, first of all into Dandasana, staff pose, we're going to bring ourselves into half shoelace. So bending the left knee, bringing that left foot onto the mat first of all, start to cross it over the right, but instead of planting that left foot onto the mat, we're coming to the side of that foot, allowing it to come round and starting to draw those knees together. So if you can, squeeze the thighs, the right leg is still long, but we're just drawing those knees so they're more stacked on top of each other. Now you might find it more comfortable here to raise those sit bones. So again, we could bring ourselves onto a block. Let's draw the right toes towards the face, lift the head, neck and spine, and pop your fingers underneath that right knee as we allow the body just to gently fold over that bent knee. Take a breath in, just lift the chest a little, start to draw it forwards, and then exhale, come back down. Let's do that again. Inhale, lift the chest, bring it forwards. Maybe we can snuggle a little bit closer down. So just continuing with this breath and movement practice. Seeing if you can direct that breath all the way along to travel along the whole length of your spine. And then slowly, when you're ready, start to bring yourself back up to center on an inhale. Bring that left foot so it's planted on the mat, but it's still crossed over the right leg. Take both arms up and overhead. And we're going to turn towards the left. So we're going to a closed twist. Reaching that back arm, so this is the left arm, behind you, tucking it as close into your sacrum as you can while you hold on to that right knee, just hugging it into the body. So all the while thinking, inhale to lift and exhale to gently start to move deeper into this twist. Now close down your eyes and really ask yourself this question. What is your body seeking just now? Is it really loving the stretch and asking you to go deeper? Or is the breath a little bit shallow and maybe it's asking you just to ease off a little? So listen to what your body is telling you. See if you can respond accordingly. Let's use the next inhale to slowly draw the eye gaze, the shoulders back to center. Lift and lengthen that left leg. So we're back in our staff pose, Dandasana, pressing the heels away. Inhale, the arms up and overhead. And exhale, just come to your Paschimottanasana, forward fold. Whatever variation feels good. Now we're not going to worry about that spine being flat at the moment. We're going to allow it to curve. So let that chin drop and allow a nice spinal release. This might feel good with your heels, your legs a little bit wider. And it might feel good to allow those knees to softly bend. There's no need for us to push into the full expression of this pose just now. We're just working as a counter pose to our twists. So slowly inhale, draw the body back to center. And let's move to shoelace on the other side. So bending the right leg, bringing that right foot nice and close in before we cross it over and allowing it to come on the outside edge of that right foot. So this will start to now allow the thighs to squeeze together, so engaging your thighs, seeing if we can stack those knees on top of each other. Become active in that left leg, so pressing the heel away. Take an inhale to lengthen and an exhale, start to fold over that bent knee. Now if you feel any strong sensation in the top of your left thigh around your gluteus medius, perhaps your piriformis area, then just ease off and take a couple of breaths to a place of ease before you start to explore a deeper stretch if that feels good. Don't stick in a place of any strong feeling or discomfort. Try to recognize those signs that your body is telling you. So we'll all be using our inhale just to come out a little and lengthen, and the exhale to explore wherever feels good for you. Again, just visualizing that breath traveling up and down the spine. One more breath here. Using your fingertips to walk yourself back up to center. We're going to draw that right knee up, placing the right foot flat on the mat outside of the left leg. Inhale those arms up and overhead and turn to the right for your closed twist on the other side. Ardha Sindrasana. So draw your right hand in towards your sacrum, helping you to keep the spine nice and tall, using your left hand to hold that right knee close to the body. So take your time, make any modifications you need to, don't rush into a final pose and feel that you've just got to stay there. Sometimes it does take time, we need to make a few adjustments. Using that breath to inhale, to lengthen, and then use your exhale to move into that space you've created. On your next exhale, let's slowly draw the head and the shoulders back to center. Lifting and extending your right leg back to Dandasana, staff pose. Inhale, arms up and overhead. Press those heels away as we reach forwards, this time with a flat back. Inhale, lengthen, and exhale, draw that chest forwards. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, move into that space. Making this pose as dynamic as you need it to be. So again, coming back to that question of how do we feel? Take another full breath here. And slowly we're going to take the hands back to help the spine come back to center. Press your hands so that you can shift your sacrum forwards, and slowly with your hands behind your knees start to bring the body down onto the mat, keeping your knees bent. Just walk your heels in towards your sit bones, finding a place where your heels are nice and close, possibly even your fingers can touch, just grazing the backs of your heels. Press into your feet, having that strong engagement. Lift the back of your head, tuck your chin and place it back on the mat, just so your eye gaze is coming in the direction of your knees. And keep pressing into your feet as we slowly work through bridge pose. So inhaling to lift, the knees are not separating, they're staying the same distance apart. Use your exhale to allow the spine to come down very slowly. Thinking about it rippling down from the top down to the bottom. So the last thing that hits the mat is your tailbone. Inhale, lift once more. Maybe we can get a little bit higher on this next inhale. Hold, and very slowly allow the body to come back down. Now, if you still have your blocks handy, we're going to work into a supported bridge. So inhale, start to lift and work your shoulder blades in towards each other. That will lift that chest just as we did in our camel pose. Pressing the feet down and seeing how it feels to bring some of your blocks underneath your sacrum. So again, that flap of the spine that we have been working on. So start in a place which is reasonably comfortable for you, just so that you can feel how it feels to rest your body onto those blocks. Now you have to explore with how high, maybe you rotate them around. Sometimes 2 blocks is too much, so you might have to work with kind of a skinny book or using different books. And then maybe you can explore moving them around. Now you will know the place that feels good, right on the base of your spine. Thinking about sending that chest away, up and away, pressing into the feet the whole time and keeping the knees working in towards each other. Now, if you don't have any blocks but you'd like an assisted supported bridge, you might have the extension to tuck your forearms, and it will depend on the length of your forearms to some extent, and use those as your balance. But this isn't for everybody, so there's just a few options that you can work towards. So for some people this is just not a comfortable place to come to. You can also work simply to hold on to your ankles. That's another way we can find that engagement between hands and feet, keeping that lovely arch in the spine. Just for another breath. Now, because we're in a supported bridge, we need to come down with even more care and ease. So take away any blocks that you have beforehand. Slowly edging your shoulders back and working with care to slowly allow one vertebrae to come down at a time. You can even pause for a moment if you're finding this is quite a strong pose to be in. Take your time to get all the way to the mat. And once we're on the mat, just take a breath or two, allowing the spine to have that lovely neutral position before drawing the left and the right knee into the chest, just gently swaying this body from side to side, giving that mid back a nice massage as we go. And when you're ready to allow the feet to come back to the mat, slowly slide your legs out long, Allow your palms to turn and face upwards. If you need to lift the back of your head and tuck your chin a little once more, just to give yourself that extra space, then do so. And if your spine is feeling a little bit sensitive, perhaps that's why you chose tonight's practice, then bend the knees and bring them gently in towards each other as the feet are nice and wide. This might take a little bit of the pressure off your sacrum. So wherever you have come to rest at the end of today's practice, take a moment or two just to go through that scan once again, exactly as we did at the beginning. Maybe you want to reflect on the areas of the body that raised any issues for you, if there were any, and ask yourself the question of how does it feel now? And once you're satisfied that you have scanned through your spine, use the next few moments just to allow your breath to settle. Let your mind rest on your breathing. And reflect on how your spine feels after just a short time focusing and using our yoga practice. You can stay in your relaxation, or if you're ready to move out, then just gently bring yourself onto one side, slowly making your way back into your seated pose. Bringing your palms together and just allowing that head to drop, to bow to your own heart, thanking yourself for making this time today. Namaste.